I am a graduate of Morgan State University, class of 2006. My major was finance. I also have a master's in international management. I'm the current owner of Express Employment Professionals Towson, which is a full service staffing company. We are a franchise. Express has been in business for over 35 years. We specialize in light industrial, manufacturing, construction, but we do office support. We have offices in the United States, Canada, and South Africa. So that is a little bit about me and currently what I do. Um, Share my story on why I became an entrepreneur. I worked in corporate America for about 14 years, started out in staffing at a large IT firm, and I was doing accounts receivable there. I was an intern and then later promoted to a full-time position once I graduated from Morgan State. And after that, I started working at Black & Decker. I went on to work for the state of Maryland as an auditor for alcohol and tobacco. So after spending so many years in corporate America, and I was very fortunate along the way. Many times I was recruited for many of the positions that I was very fortunate to have. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, even sitting in the classes at Morgan State. I always knew that I wanted to own something of my own. I just was not sure if I wanted to branch out on my own, do a partnership with someone else, or what that truly look like. So I ended up just working in corporate America until timing was right. I had death in the family, and so I had to move back to Maryland from Florida. So I felt it was the perfect opportunity to try to explore, maybe just purchase a subway to just kind of get my feet into the entrepreneurship realm. So, me personally, I knew that this was something that I couldn't do on my own, and that it was best if I reach out to someone who was an expert in this sort of uh, franchise world or entrepreneurship in general. So I actually reached out to a franchising consultant, and he made me take an assessment. And from that assessment, he paired me with about 20 different business models for me to then break it down and see what was a good fit. Now, at the same time, I was actually reaching out to owners of Subway franchises just to get their opinion on the business. And I had one in particular that was very honest with me. And I do appreciate people being honest. That's a strong character trait for me. His thoughts were, Kenya, if you have not worked in the food industry before, I don't know if this is the best fit for you. When I first opened my Subway restaurant, I had to clean the restrooms, I had to make the sandwiches, make the bread. So I had to do everything. And he's right. As soon as he mentioned the restrooms, I said, you're right. This probably is not for me. So I went back to the franchising consultant, kind of talked to the different businesses or learned more about the businesses first, and then started cutting them down to what best suited me. Now, I'll be honest with you, I actually did not think that staffing was going to be one of the ones I would have selected because I had already had experience at that time starting out working in IT staffing. And then along the way, I ended up navigating into healthcare staffing. I narrowed it down to about 3 business models. And from that, 2 invited me to come to their corporate offices. One was in Michigan, the other one was in Oklahoma City. And they actually paid for us to come out there. So it was a group of us, all different owners who were interested in moving forward. We went out, and the professionalism that I saw with Express Employment Professionals stood out by far. And it actually reminded me of my time when I was in undergrad. If you arrived late, the door was closed and the train was gone. It was the exact same with Express. When they said that they were picking you up at 7:30, we were actually leaving at 7:30. And we actually did leave someone behind at the hotel. So I like the professionalism. Everything that I saw, the people that I spoke with, because I did do my homework before I went. I spoke with a couple of owners, got their feedback, and I did the same with both businesses. It's just Express kind of stood out from everything else. So fast forward, I decided to move forward with Express Employment. Um, I think most business models or most franchisees are typically families. So it has been a little bit of a struggle point because it is just myself, whereas most of the time it's family ran businesses within the franchise system. But nevertheless, we went forward with training, set up the office. I have had the office now for almost 3 years. Some wins is that in the beginning, we um, hit a lot of our goals, a lot of our numbers straight out the bat. It's been an incredible ride, meeting different people. One of the joys that I have learned in this role is that I have never been into a warehouse before, but now I know all the different equipment that someone can operate in a warehouse. I've toured numerous warehouses and construction sites. So I've learned more of that industrial sector, which is very intriguing to me, surprisingly. So that's interesting, is being able to go on these facility tours and then just being there for the community. As a sidebar, I had a young lady who called me the other day because of something that's going on personally in her life, and she literally just needed someone to talk to. And at the end of that, her response was, "Thank you for taking my call." So those have been some of the wins that I have experienced, able to get people positions that they thought would never happen. I have a great success story of someone who was incarcerated. He came to me. He had changed his life around. He was a maintenance tech, a great one, before he was incarcerated. And I told him, I said, "You're the only person who has ever came to this office that's aced this assessment. So I know we can help you find employment." And I did within 2 weeks. And he was very, very shocked. And when I called him with the offer and they were going to pay him $50,000 a year to be the building manager, he just couldn't believe it. So those are the moments that have been the wins for me. Um, it's been an incredible ride. I do not regret it. There have been challenges, as I mentioned before, because it is just myself. I think that a lot of times when you do not have certain support systems that come with, whether it's a family that goes in it with you or a friend or a spouse, there can be those periods of loneliness, as well as moments of kind of not really knowing how to pursue certain avenues because it is just you. So you're stretched thin. You have to manage your internal staff, which I have an internal staff. It fluctuates at any given time. Right now, we have about 3 people on staff, 4 including myself. So it's managing the team, making sure their day-to-day is set up, making sure they're adhering to their schedule and goals, and then at the same time running the business and making sure that invoices are being paid and running people background checks, as well as making sure reference checks are done and drug screens are completed, as well as still trying to grow the business and nurture that, as well as following up with your current clients because they may have an issue with somebody who's on the job site. So you got to stop everything and deal with that. Then you got to figure out, where did I leave off at? So there are some long nights. And as a sidebar, I'm a small workaholic. So I sometimes don't leave the office till 8 o'clock. So that has been some of the challenges, I would say, that I have experienced. But along the way, there have been some great wins. And leading up till this year and what we're in now with the pandemic, I'll start from December. December was actually shaping up for us to have a great new year. We had gained a large retail client that no one else in the Maryland area had been able to obtain. So we gained a new retail client around the holidays last year, and they instantly needed 20 to 30 people. So we were working through that, and that was going to carry us over into January. At the same time, I got another large job order for a huge conference that happens every year in different states. They needed 45 people to work it for a week. So again, another large win for us. And around January, February, I got another new client that had expanded their territory. And so they needed help with ramping up their workforce for about 25 people. Now, these large contracts is what we hope to obtain at any given time within Express, because if you can have multiple people working on one job site, you know you have a chance of being successful that year. So not alone did we have one, we had three. So fast forward to February, and there's talks about the virus and what's happening overseas, and looking forward to maybe putting a ban on some flights. March comes, and it's the beginning of March, and we're looking to hire people for some of these other positions. We've slowly started ramping down with the retail position. So we're trying to get those people from the retail position to the convention or the other contract as well. We're actually having an open house for the one client that needed 25 associates to start. We had reserved the conference room in the building, set it up. Everybody was on cue and what they wanted to do. The day of the open house, the client canceled and said that because of the pandemic, their CEO said that it wouldn't be in good faith to have an open house to bring people on when you already have a staff. You may have to look at laying your staff off. And then if you have to lay your staff off, what are you going to do with your new people? What are you going to do if you have to bring those people back and you already have new people on staff? So mid-March was the beginning when everything started to fall apart. And so that was the first client. And then after that, I got another call from another client saying, abruptly, we have to end this assignment because, I'm sorry, I didn't expect that to happen. Because we don't know when we're going to be able to bring him back. And so I have to tell associates that I don't know how you're going to be able to make your bills or take care of your family. You have to leave your tools on the site right now and leave. So I had to have about 10 of those conversations. And after that, it was difficult for me to go out and try to get new clients and not know if I'm year 2 into my business and things are going great. What's going to happen next? And how do I tell these associates that are looking to become permanent at this company, you may not be able to come back? So I had a few associates that did switch over to the tail end of my retail contract so that they could get permanently there. And that's always the goal of any assignment that we place an associate on, is for them to become permanent. So a few jump ship came over to that, and they were able to go permanent, where they were able to get benefits and all of that. And maybe it was a pay cut, but at the time it was a quick fix. So internally, that helped me to be able to say, I know this may not be the 15-hour maintenance tech job you had, but if you're willing to come over here, making 11, maybe 12, but getting benefits, you can at least keep going. You can at least keep bringing in paychecks. So that has helped many of my associates along the way. Um, so we just had to deal with that on the outside. Internally, about mid-March, I laid my internal staff off, which I think they kind of knew it was coming. We kept getting executive orders saying who was allowed to travel out on the highways and who was not. So I believe it was probably one of the last executive orders that we got from the governor. It did not cover the staff being out anymore. So the attorneys up in corporate talked to all the owners and said it's time that you have a discussion with your team. At this point, we can no longer vouch for your team members being out. So if you want to keep them on staff, then you have to figure out if they're able to work remotely. Do they have the equipment? Are you willing to let them take the equipment from the office? Those sort of things. So I had been transparent with the team all along. So they took it well. And so they helped me ramp down the office and tidy up all files or all documentation that they had at their desk. They were able to put it up and gave me a running tab of what was going on at their desk. Because at that point, I was going to be the only person coming and going in the office. We had other owners in the area who just shut down everything and started working from home. But I know that I work better when I am in the office. And plus, I still had to come out every day, even during the height of the pandemic. I had to come out every single day and check my team in at the retail store. Because I felt like if they were getting up every day to go to work, I still had to get up and go to work too. So I would go, and everybody was so concerned about me because I would sometimes be the only person on the road, but I had to go and check the team in. And so it was scary. At the beginning of it, I didn't even have a mask. I was telling a couple of my line sisters that I didn't, and one met me at the office and gave me a mask. So it was like really crazy. It was something you could never experience or know how to handle something like that. So I would go every day, check my team in, and then I would leave there and I would come back to the office. We had a few people that would call, and I would just be honest with them and let them know, like, we're currently not hiring. This is all that we kind of have available. I'm not sure if you're interested in working that, but this is kind of all we have. So we did very minimum interviews. We were still trying to keep the business going, but you would be just calling businesses to see how they were doing or see what they were planning to do. And you wouldn't get any responses, or you'll get answers such as, we just laid off 150 people, Kenya. I'm not sure when we're going to open back up or what that's going to look like moving forward. So we had to swallow a lot of those calls and just say, I fully understand how you feel. We also had to downsize here, but I just want you to know that on the other side of this, we're here for you. And we're slowly getting on the other side of that. And every day that we have to hear meetings about, the cases going up again, and we're concerned about another shutdown and what that will look like. I know personally our industry cannot handle another shutdown. There's an office in Maryland that has been open for 22 years. I even spoke with them kind of midway through the pandemic, and she was like, we have such low client numbers that we've never had this little amount of clients in 22 years. And so I talked to her about what it would look like if they had to shut down again. She said, Kenya, I don't even want to think about that. Because if we have to close our office again, I don't think that we'll make it. And being one of the newer offices in Maryland, you can imagine how I feel. But at the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm still trying. I'm still looking to gain new businesses. There are businesses that are hiring right now. So you just have to go where they're hiring. And fortunate enough for us, we kind of specialize in the field that is still hiring. Manufacturing is booming, retail is booming, and then you have medical that is doing well. So sometimes it's difficult for us to find those people for medical, but industrial, we know. It's just getting those ones who may already work with someone else to utilize our services or to even learn about us. So that's kind of where we're in that space now, is figuring out who's going to want to start working with us. Who can we get to become a new client for us, and still working those relationships that we already have. Okay, great. We put a shipping and receiving coordinator here. Just so you know, we interviewed a couple of associates the other day that are forklift operators. Do you think you guys are going to need any help in the warehouse? It's figuring out how to still work and expand our business at the same time, but we are cautious. A lot of our administrative positions take forever to bring someone aboard now, whether it's a Zoom meeting or it's a telephone interview or an in-person interview. Everything just takes that much longer now. And I don't know for some of my clients, what's that going to look like on the other side. One client in particular, they're a project management company, and they also manage properties. They have about 34 staff members, and it's a fairly close-knit office space where cubes are in the middle and offices are around it. She's been remote since March. And she told me the other day she wants to bring someone new on, but she doesn't know how to handle it. She does not know how to do training remote. How is she supposed to get the person their equipment? I told her, we can talk through it. But, when someone's new, do you feel comfortable giving them a loaner laptop? How do you ensure that they understand the material remote? So we're trying to navigate all of those issues. And then on the medical side, it's getting to the point that people have to take multiple COVID tests weekly, and some associates are not okay with that. The ones who have healthcare experience, they're okay with it, but it makes it 10 times harder for us to find people to want to work in the medical space, because now they have to take a COVID test multiple times. So at one facility, it was once a week. I had to take the COVID test before signing the paperwork to work there. And then they could start working. And then they had to be okay with getting a test done weekly. So that's just another layer that we're having to deal with. So my advice, resources, I'm always here to partner in any way, shape, or form that I can with anyone. If you ever just need someone to talk to, bounce some ideas off. We additionally, outside of doing staffing, we do resume review. It takes time out of our day, but we do resume prep, and we'll try to help you revamp your resume, give you some tools and some tips on how to best get yourself out there And we do mock interviews as well. We used to partner with a couple of the local high schools to do mock interviews. And I used to go there and just talk to them about different world events, as well as some things that were close to them. They wanted to know more about how to save, how to get prepared for a job interview, little subject matter such as that. So that's what I'm here for. And please feel free to contact me. So my name is Kenya, last name Taylor. I'm the owner of Express Employment Professionals in Towson. Our telephone number is 410-321-4473. My direct email address is Kenya, KENYA Taylor, TAYLOR, at Express Pros, that's PROS on the end, .com.